Wapanyam, which means to stand. Wapanya Hukwadam, which means turn and face the east. The east is this way. Sar, which means to turn. Hold on 1 second before we start the prayers. Let me fix something with the screen. Salakia. All right, we're starting off with the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Haya, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakaka, Daba'a, Ratazaka, Haya, Shaba, Rataza, Kawa, Haya, Bashamayim, Nathananawa, Lakam, Ka, Yawam, Wasalakanawa, Kawa Waknawa, Kasalaknawa, Kawa Wakyanawa, Wala'a, Tabayanawa, Banasayawan, Abal, Hawashayanawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Wa'ala, Hatapara, La'iwalamyam, Aman. In English, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. Hakat, the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh, by Shemi Awashah, Baba Kashah, the Thundanawa, Hakak, La Pa'a, Kal Makala, Wakal Marawa, Hakak, La Tahar, Hamatazarayim, Hakak, La Hakyam, Hamakyam, Hakak, Al Kawa, the Tama'ala, the Garshan, by Shemi Awashah, the Wada Aman in English, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh, please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against the unclean spirits, to cast them out. In the name of Yahweh, thank you. So be it. This is the prayer to bless Israel in the Hebrew. Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh, Barak Lanawa, Wayasha'ala, Waha, Wayafsaparim, Barak, Rapah, Magan, Hagan, by Hashem Yahweh, the Wada Aman. What we just said was Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh, bless us in Israel and the school. Bless, heal, shield, protect our loved ones. In the name of Yahweh, thank you. So be it. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'ah, Ayanya, Al-Haharyam, Ma'ayan, Yaba'ah, Isaiah, Ma'ayan, Yahweh, Aisha, Shemayim, Waharataza, Al-Yatan, Lamawat, Regalka, Al-Yanawam, Shemarka, Hanala, Ayanawam, Wala'ah, Yashan, Shawamar, Yasha'ala, Yahweh, Shemarka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Al-Yad, Yamyaka, Yawamam, Hashemash, La'ah, Yakayaka, Wayarak, Balayala, Yahweh, Yashamarka, Makal Rai, Yashamar, Aknapashka, Yahweh, Yashamar, Taza'aka, Wabawaka, Ma'ita, Wa'ai, Awalam, Aman, in English. I will lift up mine eyes into the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in, from this time forth and even forevermore. So be it. Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayim, al damayalaka, al the karash, al the shakwat, al kayahana, al yabika, yahamayawan, wamashanaka, nashaawa, ra'ash, al amika, yarayamwa, sawad, wayatayai tazawa, al tazapawanyaka, or mawala, kawa, wanakaki, the magoya, wala yazakar, sham yashala, aiwa, kaya, nawai tazawa, lab yakabwa, al yakabar yakarakwa, ahal yadawam, wayashamaal, mawaba, wahagarium, Gabal, Waimawan, Wamalat, Palashab, I'm Yashabia, Tazawar, Gamashawar, Nalawai, Imam, Hayawa, Zarawai, Labanya Lawat, Salai, Shalahom, Kamadium, Salakia. Kasayasa, Kayabi, and Banachal, Koyashwan, Neshamadu, Nadiabawa, Kaira, Wakazaba, Wakazabat, Wakatazamanai, called Nasaya Kamba, Ashar, Mawana, Yerushala, Nawa, Nawaf, Alahayim, Alahaya, Shayatamba, Kagagala, Kakwash, Lapanya Ruka, Kaash, Tabari Ira, Wakalahaba, Dalahat, Haryam, Khan, Deradatma, Basta Arika, Wabastoa Paka, Tabahalom, Malaa, Panyahom, Walawan, Waya Bakwashwa, Shamka, Yahawa, Yabashwa, Waya Baawa, Adi Ai, Waya Kaparawa, Waya Abadwa, Waya Daiwa, Kaya, Da Shamka, Yahawa, Labaka, Al, Yawan, Al, Kaha, Rataza, Aman. Psalms 83 in the English. Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. But they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gabal, and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Asa also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Salah, do unto them, as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin, at the brook of Kasan, which perished that endured. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like a red, and like Zeb, yea, all the princes as Zabah, and as Amunah, who said, Let us take to ourselves the houses of Yahweh in possession. O my power, make them like a wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth the wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name. O Yahweh, let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the most high over all the earth. So be it. Yeshabia, which means to be seated, except me, Salakia. I forgot to do this part. I went out of order. So let me do this real quick. La Yashala. Alright, everyone's already seen Yeshabia, just me up here now. Salakia. We're going out of order. We're messing it up. Now we're going to be picking up where we left off from last week. And we're in Genesis chapter 40, starting at verse 5. While Kalawam, Shanayahum, Ayash, Kalamwa, Balayala, Achad, Ayash, Kapathrawan, Kalamwa, Hamashakwa, Wahakapha, Ashar, Lamlak, Matazar, Yamashar, Asawarium, Babayat, Hasahar. Verse 6. Wayaba'a, Alayaha, Alayahom, Yawasap, Babakwar, Wayara'a, Athom, Wahanam, Za'ipyum. Verse 7. Waya Sha'al, Sar Yasya, Parai, Ashar, Athwa, Bama Shamar, Bayat, Adanyua, La Amar, Madawai, Panyakum, Ra'ayam, Hayawam. Verse 8. Wayamar, Alayawa, Kalawam, it's like it, Kalamanwa, Wapathar, Ayan, Atwa, Wayamar, Alaham, Yabasa, Ha, Lawa'a, La Alahayam, Patharanyo, Saporwa, Na'alaya. Verse 9. Wayasapar, Shar, Hamashkwa Yam, Kalamwa, Layawasa, Wayamar, Lawa, Baka, Lawan, Lamya, Rahana, Gapan, Lapanya. Verse 10. Waba Gapan, Shalasha, Sharyagam, Wahaya, Kaparakath, Allah, so like Alata, Nataza, Habashya Lawa, Ashaka Lathyaha, I Nabium. Verse 11, it's the last verse. Wakapo Wong Parai Bayadya Wa Akwak Af Ha'ai Nabium Wa Shakat Athon Al Kawas Parai Wa Athan Af Hakawas Al Kap Parai. Alright. And Shalom Yahweh Shemala Daba Shem Yasha to the sister Nazam Ana. Shalom, sis. Now we're going back to the English. All right. Genesis chapter 40, verse 5. And they dreamed a dream, both of them, each man his dream in one night, each man according to the interpretation of his dream, the butler and the baker of the king of Egypt, which were bound in the prison. Verse 6, and Joseph came in unto them in the morning and looked upon them, and behold, they were sad. Verse 7, and he asked Pharaoh's officers that were with him in the world of his Lord's house, saying, wherefore look ye so sadly today? Verse 8, and they said unto him, we have dreamed a dream, and there is no interpreter of it. And Joseph said unto them, do not interpretations belong to the Most High? Tell me them, I pray you. Verse 9, and the chief butler told his dream to Joseph, and said to him, in my dream, behold, a vine was before me. Verse 10, and in the vine were 3 branches, and it was a though it budded, and her blossoms shot forth, and the clusters thereof brought forth ripe grapes. Verse 11, and Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes and pressed them into Pharaoh's cup, and I gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand. So if you know this story or the backstory, Joseph was locked up. Pharaoh threw Joseph in prison because Pharaoh's wife lied and said that Joseph tried to, sleep with her. She wanted to deal with Joseph, but he was a righteous man of the Most High God. Unlike the rappers that you listen to today and all the R&B artists that you listen to today, and like Puff Daddy and allegedly Jay-Z. See, Joseph had integrity. He would never sleep with another man's wife, like the people we glorify with, or glorify, period. The people that we glorify will sleep with another man's wife. The women that we glorify are absolutely whores. You know what I mean? So Joseph went to prison for something that he was falsely accused of. You understand? Because he had integrity and he had morality. He would never do Pharaoh like that. Even though Pharaoh was a heathen, Joseph wouldn't sleep with Pharaoh's wife, even if he was a heathen or not. And this is a lesson to sisters. This is where sisters get being a whore from, is from the heathens. There is no bigger whore than Esau, the daughters of the Edomites, the so-called white men and women. Those are the biggest whores on earth. You understand? But because we mimic their culture and behavior, we carry out their behavior. You know what I mean? We act just like them because we worship them. We worship the ground that they walk on. But Joseph, one of our forefathers, one of our relatives, you know what I mean? One of our ancestors, he was a righteous man. He didn't want to sleep with the Pharaoh's wife. So she got upset and lied on him, because when he tried to run or get away or flee, she tried to grab his, his garment. She had a piece of his garment in her hand, and she showed it to, as evidences that he tried to take advantage of me. He tried to sleep with me. And they threw Joseph in prison. And now here Joseph is with 2 other prisoners. And these prisoners had dreams, and they needed Joseph to interpret the dreams, because Joseph, the Most High God, was dealing with Joseph. You understand? So let me keep reading. Oh, okay. Well, that was the first 7. So We're going to go back to the Hebrew. Genesis chapter 40, verse 12. Wayamar Lawai, Yawasap, Za, Patharai, Pathariwa, Shalash, Shalashah, Hashar, Gayom, Shalasha, Yam, Hum. Verse 13. Ba'aiwa, Shalasha, Yam, Yasha'a, Parai, Ra'ashak, Rahash, Yabak, Al, Kanak, Wanatha, Kawas, Parai, Bayadwa, Kamash, Patah, Kamashapat, no Kush, Kamashpat, Parashwan, Ashar, Hayayat, Mashaqua, Hawa. Verse 14. Kaya, Zakarath, Naya, Athat, Kashar, Yayatab, Lat, Wa'ai Na'a, Imadya, Kasad, Wahaza Karafya, Al, Parai, Wahana, Wataza Naya, Man, Habayat, Hazat. Verse 15. Kaya, Ganab, Ganabathya, Matazaria, Ha'ai, Baryam, Wagam, Pa, La'a, Aishayathya, Ma'a Wama, Slaki, Ma'a Wama, Kaya, Shamwa, Athya, Baba War. Verse 16. Here we go. Verse 16. Wayara'a, Shar, Ha'apyam, Kaya, Tuwab, Pathar, Wayamar, Al, Yawasap, Anya, Bakala, Wamya, Wahana, Shalasha, Salaya, Karya, or Ashya. Verse 17. Wabasal, Ha'al Yawam, Ha'al Yawan, Makal, Ma'akal, Parai, Ma'aisha, Apa, Waha'ai Wap, Akal. Waya'ain, Yawasap, Wayamar, Za, Pathar, Nawa, Shalashat, Hasa, Layom, Shalashat, Yam, Hum. That was it for that 7. Now we're going back to the English. You understand? So like I gotta 1 second. All right, now we're going back to the English. All right, Genesis chapter 40, verse 12. And Joseph said unto him, this is the interpretation of it. The 3 branches are 3 days. Verse 13, yet within 3 days shall Pharaoh lift up thine head and restore thee unto the place. And thou shalt deliver Pharaoh's cup into his hands, after the former manner when thou was his butler. So he's breaking down the dream, you understand? Because like I said, the Most High God is dealing with Joseph. So he's breaking down this cat's dream, and he's giving him the breakdown. You understand? Verse 14, but think on me when it shall be well with thee, and shew kindness, I pray thee, unto me, and make mention of me unto Pharaoh, and bring me out of this house. Verse 15, for indeed I was stolen away out of the land of the Hebrews, and here also have I done nothing that they should put me into the dungeon. So he said, they already stole me out of the land of the Hebrews. You understand? And his brothers pretty much set him up. His brothers hated him, and they acted like he was eaten by a wild animal, and his father thinks he's unalive. He thinks he's dead because his brothers sold him to the Egyptians. Well, the Egyptians found him in a ditch, and then the Egyptians took him from his land and took Joseph to Egypt, and he rose up in Egypt and went to prison because of Pharaoh's wife. You understand? So he's telling his cat, look, when you get out, remember me. Tell Pharaoh about me. This isn't my land. I was locked up unjustly. Like so many other brothers and sisters have been locked up unjustly here in America. You understand? Let me keep reading verse 15. For indeed I was stolen away out of the land of the Hebrews, and here also have I done nothing that they should put me into the dungeon. Verse 16. When the chief baker saw that the interpretation was good, he said unto Joseph, I also was in my dream, and behold, I had 3 white baskets on my head. Verse 17, and in the uppermost basket there was of all manner of baked meats for Pharaoh. And the birds did eat them out of the basket upon my head. Verse 18, and Joseph answered and said, this is the interpretation thereof. The 3 baskets are 3 days. You understand? So we're going to go back to the Hebrew, and we're going to break that down. So Joseph's like, hell, man, when you get out of here in these 3 days, don't forget to tell Pharaoh about what I did. I'm already locked up in here unjustly. You understand? I'm locked up in prison because his wife lied. Then I was stolen from my land, from the land of the Hebrews. So, you know, if you ever been locked up, you got to understand it's a horrible place to be. It's a horrible place to be. So if you locked up unjustly, just imagine how much worse that may feel. You know what I mean? It's something you can never understand. A person who is guilty from being locked up would never understand how a person unjustly locked up would feel. Understand? That makes sense? So just try to imagine that. Joseph was locked up unjustly, but the Most High God was dealing with him. That's how he was able to interpret these dreams. You understand? So we're going to go back to the Hebrew. So Genesis chapter 40, verse 19. We're going to read the Hebrew. All right, Genesis chapter 40, verse 19. Ba'ai wad, shalashab, yam yam, yasha'ah, parai, rashak, ma'al yak, wathala, awatha, al, aitaza, wa kal, ha'ai wa, basharak. Salaki. Ma'al yak, verse 20. Wa yahya, bayawam, halash, hashalash, hashala, yashya, yawam, halada, parai, waya aish, mashata, lakal, ibadiyawa, waya sha'a, ra'ash, shar, hamashak, shakyum, ra'ash, shar, ha'apyum, bathawak, ibadiyawa. Verse 21. Wayashab, shar, hamashakyum, al, mashakwa, hawa, wayatan, hakawas, al, kap, parai. Verse 22. Wa'af, shar, ha'apyum, Dala, Ka'ashar, Pathar, Laham, Yawasap. Verse 23. Wala Zakar Shar Hamashak Yawasap Wayashakak Hawa. All right, Genesis chapter 40, verse 1. Salakia. All right. Wayahaya Makwataza Shanathyum Yam Yam Waparai Chalam Wahana Imad Al Hayar. Verse 2. Wahana Man Hayar Ilaf Shabai Horwa Yapawa Mara'a Wabar Ya'af Bashar Wathara Ayana Bahawa. Verse 3. Wahana Shabai Parwa Akarwa Alawa Akar Yahan Man Hayara Ra'aywa Mara. It's like it. Mara'a Wada Kwa Wa Bashar Wata I Madana Atazala Haparwa Al Shapat Haya Ara. It's like a Haya Ara. All right, back to the English. Genesis chapter 40, verse 19. Yet within 3 days shall Pharaoh lift up thy head off thee, and shall hang thee on a tree, and the birds shall eat thy flesh from off thee. Verse 20. And it came to pass on the 3rd day, which was Pharaoh's birthday, that he made a feast unto all his servants. And he lifted up the head of the chief butler and of the chief baker amongst his servants. Verse 21. And he restored the chief butler unto his butlership again, and he gave the cup into Pharaoh's hands. Verse 22. But he hanged the chief baker as Joseph had interpreted to them. Yet did not the chief butler remember Joseph, but forgot about him. Ain't that something? Joseph gave you the interpretation you was looking for in a dream, and he asked you not to forget, right? It's just like when people get out of jail, or when people go to jail, you forget about it. You locked up, they forget about you. Don't nobody give a damn about somebody that's locked up. You know what I mean? People forget about you. You understand? But the Bible, according to our culture, according to our law, we don't forget people that are in ward or in prison. You understand? The Bible says visit the prisoners. You know what I mean? Go see the prisoners. Don't forget about them. But, you know, granted, this cat's a heathen. He's a Hamite, some Egyptian. But, you know, Joseph was courteous and honest, and you know, the perfect brother to a heathen. And the heathen forgot about him, of course, because once heathens get what they want from you, they don't remember you anymore. You know what I mean? He's like, you know, you're not our people. Let me keep reading. Genesis chapter 41, verse 1. And it came to pass at the end of 2 full years that Pharaoh dreamed, and behold, he stood by the river. So 2 years been passed, you understand? And Joseph is still in prison. The damn butler, whatever he is, forgot about him. You understand? Verse 2, and behold, there came up out of the river 7 well-favored kine and flat flesh, and they fed in the meadow. Verse 3, and behold, 7 other kine came up after them out of the river, ill-favored and lean flesh, and stood by the other kine upon the brink of the river. Oh, that was it on that step. I was about to keep reading. All right, now we're going to go back to the Hebrew. Genesis chapter 41, verse 4. Watha kalana haparwa ra'ayawa hamara wada kwa habashar shabai haparwa yapath hamara Wahabar Ya'ah, Wayayakwataza, Parai. Verse 5. Wayayashan, Wayakalam, Shanyaf, Wahana, Shabai, Shabal, Shabalayom, Al Wa, Bakwana, Achad, Bar Ya'ahwa, Bar Ya'awa, Watsabawa. Verse 6. Wahana, Shabai, Shabalyum, the Dakwawa, Washada Wapa, Quadayam, Tazamakahwa, Akaryahan. Verse 7. Wathaba La'aina, Hashabalyum, Hadakwawa, Shabai, Hashabalyum, Habar Ya'awath, Wahamala Awath, Wayayakwataza, Parai, Wahana, Kalawam. Verse 8. Wayahaya, Babakor, Watha Rawakawa, Wayashalach, Wayakwara, Kal, Haratamya, Matazarian, Kal, Kakamya, Wayasapar, Parai, Laham, Kalamwa, Wayan, Pawathar, Awatham, La Parai. Verse 9. Hold on. Yeah, verse 9. Wayadabar, Shar, Hamashakoyam, Parai, La Mar, Hataya, Anya, Mazakayar, Hayawam. Verse 10. Parai, Quatazap, Al, Ibadiwa, Wayathan, Atya, Bamashamar, Bayat, Shar, Hatab Kayam, Atya, Wa'a, Shar, Ha'apyum. All right, that's the next 7. All right, so in Genesis chapter 41, verse 4. And the ill-favored and the lean-fleshed kind did eat up the 7 well-favored and fat kind. So Pharaoh awoke, verse 5, and he slept and dreamed the second time. And behold, 7 ears of corn came up upon one stalk, rank and good. Verse 6, and behold, 7 thin ears and blasted with the east, wind sprung up after them. Verse 7, and the 7 thin ears devoured the 7 rank and full ears. And Pharaoh awoke, and behold, it was a dream. Verse 8, and it came to pass in the morning that his spirit was troubled, and he sent and called for all the magicians of Egypt, and all the wise men thereof. And Pharaoh told them his dream, but there was none that could interpret it them unto Pharaoh. Then spake the chief butler unto Pharaoh, saying, I do remember my faults this day. Verse 10, Pharaoh was wroth with his servants, and put me in ward in the captain of the guard's house, both me and the chief baker. So now it's about to get in. Now he's remembering. Now Pharaoh had a dream. You know what I mean? He's trying to look out for his brother. You know what I mean? They both Egyptians. So Pharaoh's like, look, I had these dreams and I need them all. I need these dreams interpreted. So he called up all his magicians, all his wise men all throughout Egypt, and he couldn't get his dreams interpreted. You want to know why? because the Egyptian gods aren't real. You understand? The Egyptian gods aren't real. So we shouldn't be worshiping Egyptian gods. You've seen in this story that I'm reading in the Bible, Pharaoh was celebrating his birthday. That's not Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian culture. You understand? Joseph worked for Pharaoh. He did a job for Pharaoh, like many of us do jobs in our slavery here today. Joseph was being held captive in a land that wasn't his, against his will. And he was raised there, and he was brought up very high. Like, there are many successful people here in America, but that doesn't mean you're not a captive. That doesn't mean you're not the children of slaves. That doesn't mean that you're not an Israelite. It just means that you do your job well. But Pharaoh didn't forget who he was. So, like, not Pharaoh, Joseph didn't forget who he was. You understand? That's how he was able to get to the point he was, where he was favored by Pharaoh. He didn't, submit to Pharaoh's culture. He kept his own. So you see this part, Pharaoh called all his magicians, he called all his wise men, and none of them can answer. Now, his butler said that he remembers being in war this day because Pharaoh was upset with him. You understand? So we'll get to the next segment after I read in Hebrew. We'll read it back in English and we'll break that down. So now we're going back to Genesis chapter 41, verse 11 in the Hebrew. Wana kalama, kalawam, bala yala, achad, anya, wahawa'a, ayash, kapaf rawan, kalamnawa. Verse 12. Washon after Nawa, Na'ira, Ibaria, Ibad, Lashar, Hataba, Hatakabium, Wana Sapar, Lawa, Wayapathra, Lanawa, Kalam, Salaki, Kalamath, Yanawa, Ayash, Kakah, Lamwa, Pathar. Verse 13. Wayahaya, Ka-ashar, Pathar, Lanawa, Khan, Hayaha, Athya, Hayash, Hashayab, Al, Kanya, Wa'athwa, Dalah. Verse 14. Wayashalach, Parai, Wayaquara, Yawasab, Wayara, Yatazahawa, Man, Habawar, Wayagalak, Wayakhalak, Shamalakyawa, Wayaba'a, Al, Parai. Verse 15. Wayamar, Parai, Al, Yawasab, Kalawam, Kalamathya, Wa Pathra, Ayan, Athwa, Wa Anya, Shamaithya, Al Yak, La Mar, Dashamai, Kalawam, La Pathar, Athwa. Verse 16. Waya'ain, Yawasab, Parai, Lamar, Bala Aya, Alahayim, Ya'ai Na, Shalom, Pa'aya. Verse 17. Wayadabar, Parai, Al, Yawasab, Bakalamya, Hananaya, Aimad, Al, Shapat, Haya Ara, Haya, it's like a Haya, yeah, Haya Ara. All right. Now we're going back to the English. Genesis. So, like, let me turn this down. Genesis chapter 41, verse 11. And we dreamed a dream in one night, and we dreamed a dream in one night, I and he. We dreamed each man according to the interpretation of his dream. Verse 12, and there was there with us a young man, an Hebrew, servant to the captain of the guard. And we told him, and he interpreted to us our dreams. To each man according to his dream did he interpret. Verse 13, and it came to pass as he interpreted to us, so it was, me he restored unto my office, and him he hanged. Verse 14, then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they brought him hastily out of the dungeon, and he shaved himself and changed his raiment and came in unto Pharaoh. Verse 15, and Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I have dreamed a dream, and there is none that can interpret it. And I have heard say of thee that thou canst understand a dream to interpret it. And Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying, it is not in me. The Most High shall give Pharaoh an answer of peace. Verse 17, and Pharaoh said unto Joseph, in my dream, behold, I stood upon the bank of the river. See, Joseph was very wise. He was very loyal, and he was a man that feared the Most High God. He didn't say it was me. He didn't say I had anything to do with this. He said the interpretation is going to come from my power, from the Most High God. You understand? That's how you know the Most High God was dealing with Pharaoh. So like I keep saying Pharaoh with Joseph, with Yahushua. So he was dealing with him and he got out of prison. You know what I mean? Now you have to remember the prophecies. We're approaching the prophecies that's going to come to pass but the whole reason he got sent to Egypt anyway, because of his brothers. The dream that he had while he was with his father and his brothers. You know what I mean? He said that his whole family was going to bend to him and bow to him. And then, they already couldn't stand him because he was the favorite. And all of a sudden, you mean to tell me we're going to be bowing in front of you? Man, get out of here. You must be crazy. You understand? But that's what happened. So they dug a ditch. They put him in a ditch to where he couldn't get out and act like he was unalive by a wild beast. Got killed by a wild beast. Now he got sold to the Egyptians. Now this prophecy or this story is starting to, come together. You understand? So we're going to go back to the Hebrew. Genesis chapter 41, verse 18. In the Hebrew. Wahana, man, haya, ara, ayla, shabai, para, wa, bara, barya, awa, bashar, waya, pa, the ar, wathara, ayana, Ba'akwa. Verse 19. Wahana, Shabai, Parwa, Akarwa, Al-Lawam, Al-Lawa, Akaryahan, Dalawa, War-I-Wa, the Ara, Ma'ad, Wara, Kwawa, Bashar, La'a, Ra'a, Yahya. Kahana, Bakal, Arataza, Matazari, and La Ra'ai. Verse 20. Watha Kalna, Haparwa, Harakwa, Wahara'aiwa, Shabai, Haparwa, Hara'ash, Nawa, Habarya, Verse 21. Wathaba'ana, al, Korab, na, Wala'a, Nawadai, Kaya, Bawa, al, Korabna, it's like Wamara, Yahan, Rai, Kashar, Bathakala, Wa'ayak, Wa'ayaktaza. Verse 22. Wara bakala bala bakalamya wahana shabai shabalyum Ayala, Bakwana, Achad, Mala'af, Wata, Watab, Watabawath. 23. Wahana, Shabai, Shabalyum, Tazanam, Wath, Dakwawath, Shadapawat, Quadayam, Tazamakwath, Tazamachawath, Akar Yahum. Verse 24. Make sure I ain't going over. All right. Wathaba La'ain, Hashabalyum, Hadakwath, Shabai, Hashabalyum, Hashabalyum, Hatabawat, Wa Ashar, so like Wa Amar, Al, Hakar, Tamyum, Wa Yan, Magayad, Layah. All right. Genesis chapter 41, verse 18 in the English. And behold, there came up out of the river 7 kine, fat-fleshed and well-favored, and they fed in the meadow. Verse 19. And behold, 7 other kine came up after them, poor and very ill-favored, and lean flesh, such as I never saw in all the land of Egypt for baldness. Verse 20. And the lean and the ill-favored kine did eat the first 7 fat kine. Verse 21. And when they had eaten them up, it could not be known that they had eaten them, but they were still favored, as at the beginning. So I awoke. Verse 22. And I saw in my dream, and behold, 7 ears came up in one stalk, full and good. 23. And behold, 7 ears withered, thin, and blasted with the east wind sprung up after them. 24. And thine ears devoured the 7 good ears. And I told this unto the magicians, but there was none that could declare it to me. You understand? Now this is the last 7, going back to the Hebrew. All right, Genesis chapter 41, verse 24. Wathaba la'ain, hashabalyum, hadakwath, shabai, hashabalyum, hatabawat, Wa'amar, Al, Hakarat Mayom, Wa'yan, Magayad, Layah. Verse 25. Wa'amar, Yawasap, Al, Parai, Kalawam, Parai, Achad, Hawa'a, Ashar, Ha'alahayim, Aisha, Hagayad, La Parai. Verse 26. Shabai, Parath, Hatabath, Shabai, Shanyam, Hana, Washabai, Hashab, Laya, Hashabalia, Hatabath, Shabai, Shanyam, Hana, Chalawam, it's like a Chalawam, Achad, Hawa'a. Verse 27. Washabai, Haparath, Hara Hawath, Waharath, Wahara'ith, Ha'alath, Acharyahan, Shabai, Shanyam, Hana, Washabai, Hashabalayam, Harakwawat, Shadapawat, Kakwadium, Yahawah, it's like a Yahawah, Shabai, Shanya, Ra'ib. Verse 28. Hawa'a, Hadabar, Ashar, Dabarathia, Al, Parai, Ashar, Ha'alahayim, Aisha, Hara'a, Parai. Verse 29. Hana, Shabai, Shanyom, Ba'awa, Shabai, Gadawal, Bakal, Arataza, Matazarium. Verse 30. Wakwamwa, Shabai, Shanya, Ra'id, Akar Yahan, Wanashaka, Kak, Kal, Hashabai, Ba'arataza, Matazarium, Wakala, Hara'ai, Ab, Harataza. Verse 31. Wala'ai, Yawadai, Hashabai, Ba'arataza, Mapanya, Hara'ai, Hahawa'a, Akarya, Kan, Kaya, Kabad, Hawa'a, Ma'ad. All right. Genesis chapter 41, verse 25 in the English. And Joseph said unto Pharaoh, the dream of Pharaoh was one. The Most High showed Pharaoh what he is about to do. So the Most High is showing Pharaoh what he's about to do here in the land of Egypt. Verse 26, the 7 good kind are 7 years, and the 7 good ears are 7 years. The dream is one. Verse 27, and the 7 dying and ill-favored kind that came up after them are 7 years, and the 7 empty ears blasted with the east. Wind shall be 7 years of famine. Verse 28, this is the thing which I have spoken unto Pharaoh, what the Most High is about to do. He sheweth unto Pharaoh. Verse 29, behold, there come 7 years of great plenty throughout all the land of Egypt. Verse 30, and there shall arise after them 7 years of famine, and all the plenty shall be forgotten in the land of Egypt, and the famine shall consume the land. Verse 31, and the plenty shall not be known in the land by reason of that famine following, for it shall be very grievous. So he's going to have 7 years where everything's going to be, growing. It's going to be plenty and everything. Then it's going to be a 7 years where it's going to be hell. You understand? So he broke down Pharaoh's dreams because, like I said, Joseph was the man of the Most High. You know what I mean? Pharaoh's magicians and Pharaoh's wise men couldn't do nothing. It goes to show you, if you serve the Lord, we're the nation that everyone needs. This is an example right here of being a light to all the other nations. You understand? He didn't follow Pharaoh or follow Pharaoh's customs to get in the position where he was at. He simply did it by being obedient to his power, to the Most High God. You understand? And with that, I guide you. Just me up here. La Yashala. Everyone else, Imadium, which means to stand. Wapanya Akwadum, which means turn and face the east. Sar, which means to turn, and east is this way. The Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Haya, Shabkat, Yahweh, Malapaka, Taba'a, Ratazah, Kahaya, Aisha, Baharatazah, Kawa, Haya, Bashamayim, Nathanganawa, Lakam, Kal, Yawam, Wasalakanawa, Kawa Waknawa, Kasalaknawa, Kawa Wakyanawa, Wala'a, Tabayanawa, Banasayawan, Abal, Hawashayanawa, Mayan, Rai, Kayala, Ka, Hamalakwa, Wa'ala, Wa'ataparat, Abalamim Aman. In English, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. Hakat, the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, Baba Kashah, Nathanganawa, Hakat, Hakat, La Pa'a, Hakal Makala, Wakal Marawa, Haka, La Kahar, Hamatazariah, Haka, La Hakwim, Hamathim, Haka, Awakawa, Atamaala, the Garshan, by Shimi Awashah, the Wada Aman. In the English, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh, please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against the unclean spirits, to cast them out. In the name of Yahweh, thank you. So be it. The prayer of the blessed Israel in the Hebrew, Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh, Barak Lanawa, Wayasha'ala, Waha, Bayaf Barak, Rapah, Magan, Hagan, by Hashem Yahweh, the Wada Aman. What we just said was, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh, bless us in Israel and the school. Bless, heal, shield, protect our loved ones. In the name of Yahweh, thank you. So be it. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew, Asha'ah, Ayanya, Ahaharya, Ma'ayan, Yaba'ah, Isaiah, Ma'an, Yahweh, Aisha, Shemaiah, Waharatazah, Al Yathan, Lamawat, Regalka, Al Yanawam, Shamar, Hanala, Yanawam, Wala'ah, Yayashan, Shavamar, Yasha'ala, Yahweh, Shamar, Yahweh, Tazalka, Al Yad, Yamnika, Yawamam, Hashamash, La'ah, Yakaya, Rayarak, Walayala, Yahweh, Yashamar, Kamakal Rad, Yashamar, Apnapashka, Yahweh, Yashamar, Taza'aka, Wabaraka, Ma'ida, Wa'id, Awalam, Aman. In English, I will lift up mine eyes into the hills, from whence cometh my help? My help cometh from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in, from this time forth and even forevermore. So be it. Psalms 83 in the Hebrew, Alahayim, Al-Damayal Laka, Al-Karash, Al-Tashakwat, Al-Kayahana, Abiyabika, Yahama Yawan, Omashanaka, Nasha'awa, Ra'ash, Al-Amika, Yarayama, Sawad, Wayatayai Tazawa, Al-Tazap Pawanyaka, Omawa, Wanakakida, Magoya, Wala'ai Yazakar, Shamya Shala, Iwad, Kaya, Nawai Tazawa, La Vikadwa, Al-Yaka, Barya, Yakarakwa, Alahaya, Arawam, Wayashama'al, Mawaba, Wahagorium, Gabal, Waimawan, Wamala, Palashat, Anya Shabia, Tazawar, Gamashawar, Nalawai, Mam, Hayawa, Zarawai, Labaya Lawat, Salai, Shala, Hum, Kamadim, Kasayasa, Salakia, Banakal, Koyashwan, Neshamadwa, Bayanda Ra, Hayawa, Damana, Nama, Shayatama, Nadiyama, Wakai Ra, Wakazaba, Wakazabat, Wakazazamana, Call Nasaya Kumwa, Ashar, Mawa, Nayarashala, Nawa, Nawa, Alahayam, Alahaya, Shayatamwa, Kagagala, Kakwash, Lapanya Ruka, Kaash, Tabaari Yara, Wakalahaba, Dalahat, Haryam, Khan, Deratma, Basaaraka, Wabasawapaka, Tabahalom, Malaa, Panyahom, Kwalawan, Wayabakwashwa, Shamga, Yahawa, Yabashwa, Wayabaawa, Adiai, Wayakaparawa, Wayabadu, Wayadaiwa, Kaya, Dashamga, Yahawa, the Baga, Al Yawan, Al Kaha, Rataza, Aman. In the English, keep not thy silence, O Yahweh, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. But they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagarims, the Baal, and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. As also is joined with them, they have hope in the children of Lot, Salah, do unto them, as unto the Midianites, as to Seir, as to Jabin, at the brook of the San, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Ored, and like Zed, yea, all the princes as Zabah, and as Zamuna, who said, Let us take to ourselves the houses of Yahweh in possession. O my power, make them like a wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth the wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name. O Yahweh, let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the most high over all the earth. So be it. This is prayer of the blessings of the power structure in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh, Wa Yahweh Shai, Wa Mayaka'ala, Wa Alahayim, Matazabia, Alawap Yahana, Halawapim, Hastaranyim, Hakatazayanyim, Hakayayayim, Wa Akwakim, Yahweh, Ba Shem Yahweh Shai, the Wada Aman. In the English, bless you Yahweh, and Yahweh Shai, and Michael, and the angels, commanding General Yahana, the generals, the captains, the officers, the troopers, and the sisters. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you. So be it. Sar, which means to turn. Sisters, Yeshabia, which means to be seated. Men of Israel, we're going to give one courtesy salute to the brothers. Men of Israel, Imajim Shabbat, Imajim, Barak, Yahweh Ba Shem Yahweh Shah Brakathon, Yajmatah, Sar, face the sisters, sisters. Imajim, which means to stand. Men of Israel, we're going to give one courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, Imajim Shabbat, Imajim, Barak, Yahweh Shamar Alatah Ba Shem Yahweh Shah, Yajmatah. Dismiss.